Welcome to the PR Maven Podcast, a podcast all about growing your network and building your brand through traditional and digital networking techniques. I'm Nancy Marshall, the PR Maven and CEO of Marshall Communications. Stay tuned for this week's episode, and thanks for listening. I'm Nancy Marshall, the PR Maven, and I have been working in PR throughout my long career. I have a special interest in personal branding. That's what makes you stand out from everyone else who does the same thing that you do and attracts people to ask for what you have to offer. I'm a keynote speaker, an author, and a columnist for the Forbes Agency Council and Maine Biz. My audiences have said that helping them think about their superpower has changed the way they think about their careers and their lives. I hope you like this episode. It's a special one, and I hope you'll share it with people who might be interested in hearing it. With me today is a very special guest, Bob Shultz, who had the most popular episode over the past year. So yay! Yay, Bob! And I should mention that unlike normally, we actually have a live audience today, so that makes it an extra special episode. So welcome to the PR Maven Podcast, Bob.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
It's nice to have you. So a 1990 graduate of Bowdoin College, and I always kind of like to rib Bob a little bit because I went to Colby, and Colby and Bowdoin are arch rivals.
That's in Colby's mind.
Yeah. All right, we're just not going to go there, as we could talk the whole.
I'm joking.
And Bob majored in economics with a minor in government. He started his career with Deloitte, where he worked as CPA. And after public accounting, Bob worked in a variety of leadership positions in both financial and operational capacities. These roles allowed him to excel as a business leader, given the diversity of experiences. Bob has worked in organizations ranging from startup to global Fortune 100 and across diverse industries. Prior to joining Puritan, he was the division CFO of one of the largest global operating units of 3M Company. At Puritan, Bob is currently the president and chief financial officer of this great Maine family-owned company. In this role, he is responsible for the day-to-day operations as well as the future strategic direction. This role allows Bob to utilize the totality of his strengths and experiences to partner with the fantastic leadership team, many of whom are here today, and drive profitable growth across all of Puritan's markets. So, Bob, the pandemic was a period of enormous growth for Puritan. How did the company adapt to the huge demand for swabs for COVID testing?
Well, honestly, I was not here at that time, so the stories are legendary across the organization. But suffice to say, in a moment of need across the entire world, a small company in Guilford, Maine stepped up, and led by Timothy Templet and the rest of the leadership team at that time, the company responded by adding significant capacity in a very short period of time, partnering with the government, partnering with our customers to bring hundreds of millions of swabs to the world to help eradicate that horrible pandemic.
Yeah, I remember hearing the stories of when the COVID pandemic became a real thing. Like it was March 13th, actually. I think it was Friday the 13th of 2020. And I know that our U.S. Senator Angus King was calling Derek McKinney, I think, to say, are you guys ready to ramp up? And I know there were several calls from the federal government that weekend. And I know that on that Monday morning, which would have been March 16th, there was a meeting to say, all right, guys, we're going to expand as much as they need us to.
Well, it's funny, you mentioned March 16th. That was my last day in the office at 3M at the time. They kicked us out. And of course, I had no idea what was going on back here. But looking at what happened, I mean, we were at the time, Puritan was operating out of a single facility in Guilford, Maine. All of the business lines, all the swabs were being manufactured out of Guilford. And to meet the capacity demands that were put upon the company, it required an immediate expansion into a newly to be developed site, buying new equipment, getting that up and running, getting it qualified, and within 90 days, I believe it was right around the 4th of July, that second facility in Pittsfield, Maine, was up and running, and that couldn't have happened without an amazing amount of work by the people at Puritan. We partnered with Chinbro, who was the contractor. I believe Bath Ironworks had a part in all of that. I mean, it was just an incredible response that, quite frankly, only could have happened in Maine.
I know. I think Maine people have this can-do work ethic, and if they don't have the right equipment, they make it or they figure it out. And I think that's what Puritan did. You partnered with Bath Ironworks to make some equipment that you needed, and it was a great partnership with Chinbro also.
It's an amazing success story, and then that led to additional capacity expansion along that the government helped us with. And it's an attitude, it's the people, it's just getting it done. I mean, you put everything aside and you get it done, and it's just incredible that a few hundred people here in Maine had that significant an impact around the world to help eradicate the pandemic over the course of the couple years after that. Just incredible.
And I know the President of the United States came to visit that summer, and that was a big thing for the town of. Was it in Guilford that he visited, or was it?
Yeah, it was in Guilford. Yep, I believe he landed in Bangor. That took the Ospreys over and landed in Guilford and burned the grass on the football field with those big machines, and took back off. That was a huge deal to have the President of the United States in Guilford, Maine.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And he did talk to a lot of the people, so they probably never otherwise would have had a chance to meet a United States president.
No, absolutely not.
Were it not for Puritan.
That's right.
So how has Puritan's team grown and changed since you arrived at the company?
Grown. I'm going to look at it as development, professional development. That's the type of growth that has happened. I think Puritan has always prided itself on rising to the occasion, whether it be a customer issue, whether it be customer demand, whether it be something within the family, people oriented or whatever. Puritan always responds. And I think the way the company grew, and don't get me wrong, revenues grew, but now we've kind of leveled back off in a post-pandemic world. But the people, I think, proved to themselves that nothing is impossible. And that type of attitude can take you very, very far.
I agree. I think, the main slogan should be "Get her done." So, Bob, why did you choose to move back to Maine after working at 3M?
3M was an amazing company to work for. And living in Minnesota like we did for as many years we did, a great place to raise a family. However, my wife and I are both Bowdoin graduates. You mentioned the Bowdoin thing. And it had always been in our plan to come back to Maine. Maine is a really special place. And, you cross the river from New Hampshire in that big blue sign welcoming you home, and telling you that Maine is the way life should be. And that always, it sounds, weird and a little utopic, but it always resonated with us. And it was something that we've always wanted to be a part of.
And now you have two beautiful grandchildren who are here with us tonight.
Yep, they
took a walk.
They took a walk, so they wouldn't disturb the podcast. But yeah, and my family is still here, so being back and being able to be close to my daughter and her husband and their kids has been just an amazing gift. Our son lives in Boston, who's also a Bowdoin grad, and we have our third daughter is back in the Twin Cities. So we still have a little hook to get back to Minnesota every now and then. So just incredibly blessed to be here and to be in this wonderful place, and to be able to really dive in and be part of the fabric. It's a gift. It's a blessing.
Well, your background is actually in finance, but now you're actually the CFO as well as the president of Puritan. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yes.
How has it helped you to have the finance background in your position as president?
Well, finance is one of those functions that crosses. It's very cross-functional. So being able to have an understanding of what all the functions are, how they all work, how they all come together and collaborate, I think is that's part of it. However, I believe everybody that's in a leadership role should have an understanding of financial statements, how to read financial statements, the analytical capabilities, and certainly at Puritan over the last 18 to 24 months, there has been a lot going on where having that business acumen, that finance acumen has been critical. One, as we continue to fund and look to grow when we opened up the facility down in Tennessee and what it took to get there and the return. And, unfortunately it's well documented. We've had to go through some restructuring this year, and having the understanding of cause and effect of as you look to restructure, resize, and get the company positioned for success in the future, however that is defined, aligned with a strategy, having that financial background and that acumen is critical.
I agree. I think all presidents of companies should have a finance background. So we're going to continue with more from Bob, but first I want to say that as a listener of the PR Maven podcast, you can all get the first chapter of my book, which is called Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand, by visiting prmaven.com/giveaway. And you can sign up for our email list to receive that first chapter. And we're going to be back. We're here at Grippy Tannins on Middle Street in Portland, Maine. We're actually having a little bit of wine and some sushi from next door at Ben K. And we're going to be back after a short break.
Sprague & Curtis is a locally owned real estate company. We're primarily focused in central Maine. I got excited about Nancy's book because she's so well known in the area for her marketing and branding techniques, and we're always looking to expand and learn and grow, and so a lot of us here at the office decided that we wanted to read her book and learn some new techniques.
It benefits Sprague & Curtis to have a large brand and audience because there can often be multiple years between transactions with clients, so it's important to network with them and stay in touch with them in those in-between periods. And this book really helped us learn some techniques and methods to continue to do that. We organized a small book group with Nancy's book with brokers in our office this winter to share information and remind ourselves how important it is to always be working on our network and continually reaching out to our customers.
Platforms like social media are important in expanding your business, but equally as important are handwritten notes, cards, letters. She inspired me to send her a note of appreciation, just thanking her for the book and her insight. In reading Nancy's book, I was excited to look to continue to grow our brand and our audience. I think she does a great job of motivating us.
Nancy's book really helped me learn a few things in marketing and branding and how important it is to stay on top of reaching out to clients periodically, staying top of mind, providing useful information, and really telling our story as a company.
Okay, we're back from Grippy Tannins on Middle Street in Portland, Maine, where we have a live audience for this episode of the podcast. It's a special episode when we're presenting Bob Shultz from Puritan Medical Products with the Golden Microphone Award because he has been the most popular guest of the year on the PR Maven podcast. And Bob, your episode was the most popular over the past year. So was that your first podcast ever that you did?
not only was the first, it was the only until again tonight. So hopefully you get the same uplift. I don't know, but no, that was such a thank you for inviting me to participate and be part of that. It was a great experience, and I love talking about Puritan and our company and our people. And so, I mean, that's what this is about. It's about the company, it's about the people, and it's a testament to that I think that it was as popular as it was.
Well, it's a great American success story, really. I mean, the company has been in business for 104 years. It's in the 4th generation now as a family-owned company. And the company started out making toothpicks and popsicle sticks.
Yep.
But it has grown and diversified. And one of our audience members here tonight, Claudette Green, asked Bob during the break, what is Puritan doing to diversify its offerings now that the demand for the COVID swabs has declined so much?
Well, it's interesting, and it's a really good question, because we are known because of COVID. However, we have a diverse portfolio as it is. And one of the strategies that we tried to get ahead of before the pandemic ended so abruptly this year was to reinvigorate what we call that base business. So when you think about specimen collection devices for a variety of different reasons, that specimen collection devices is a fancy word for a swab. But we also have the collection devices. Also, we sell transport media that for a variety of different uses across medical, diagnostic. We have environmental, forensic, genetic, all these various reasons to have a swab and to collect specimens. We have those devices, and so in terms of innovation, we're always trying to look at where can we innovate next. And we have great relationships with our customers, and our customers help drive that innovation in terms of, can you help us if we want to collect a specimen or using this sort of methodology. And Timothy and our team and our sales team and our marketing team does a fantastic job of getting that voice of customer and then commercializing and operationalizing that.
That's right. And I think going out around the world and asking customers what do they need and then responding. I mean, I think that's actually how the company pivoted originally from making toothpicks and popsicle sticks to getting into the medical products.
I think that's right.
Business.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly right.
So I think I credit Timothy Template, who's here with us tonight, with listening to customers at trade shows around the world.
Yes. Yeah, it's, we have a great customer base, a very dedicated customer base that continues to come back to Puritan because of Timothy and Matt Archambault and Megan Template and Ashley Buzz and Ginny Template and that whole front end, because when they go to these trade shows, and I'll tell you what, I've been to a lot of trade shows, and our booth that we have at these trade shows, I mean, it's like it sucks the people in, and the conversations that we have. I mean, it's sometimes difficult to be able to capitalize on all those leads that we get from there and to prioritize. But I will tell you, our customers love us and we love our customers, and I think that's part of it. We will step up and help our customers to solve whatever it is that they want to. That they're looking to help for.
I'd like to think that's kind of a Maine thing also.
I'll let you go with that. I being a 3M with the innovation we had there, but the 3M, attitude of doing whatever it takes to get done. I mean, that's you can see that in everything that Puritan does for sure.
Right.
Yeah, and it is a differentiator. I mean, we are a company that is, we're in the medical device business, so we have regulatory requirements that we need to meet. But the beauty of a company like Puritan is that we're nimble enough to be able to move and to prioritize and to get things done that our customer needs to get done.
Right. Well, that's why Puritan has been successful for so long.
Absolutely.
And will continue to be successful in the future.
Yep.
So, Bob, is there a book, a podcast, an app, or a website that has helped you in your career, and why?
That's a great question. And, you know, I'm an experiential and collaborative learner. That's how I typically will learn. I learn by doing, but there are a couple of books that have stood out to me over the years. One is Strength Finders. I believe as not only as for myself, but as developing a team and leading a team, I believe energy is much better spent playing to the strengths of people and letting people know what their strengths are as a team so that you can build off of one another and leverage those strengths. I think we spend a lot of time trying to improve. And at this point in my life and career, I mean, the improvement is incremental. I mean, it just is. Whereas I think you can get better efficiency and better, a much larger benefit by playing to those strengths. And I think that's one thing that one book I always go back to. Another one, and you might laugh at this, but The Places You Go by Dr. Seuss.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
So I think that book was published right around the time I graduated. I think it was 1990. It might have been one of the last books he wrote, but it has always resonated with me, some of the messages in that. And,
Do you read that to your grandchildren?
Not yet.
Not
yet. We have it, but but that is a book that I love. And that we've given it to all three of our children as they've, started their own lives, because there's just some amazing messages in that book.
That's nice. I like that. Thank you, Bob. How can people get in touch with you if they want to follow up with you?
Well, PuritanMedProducts.com, the website, my profile, and there's a link to being able to either call or email me. That's one place. I'm active on LinkedIn. Bob Shultz 3 is my is that, and then on Twitter, which I'm not as active on Twitter, but that's B Schultz 3. So
okay,
those are probably
X.
the best. Yeah, I can't. I just can't go there. Yeah, X.
Right, for now.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, Bob, this has been great, and I want to thank everybody in our live studio audience here at.
Thank you.
I actually kind of like having the applause.
It's kind of nice. Yeah.
It's a nice touch.
Absolutely.
So thank you. If you have any questions for our guests or would like to hear more about a certain topic or from a certain person on our podcast, feel free to email me at nancy@prmaven.com, and check out our new website that we just launched at prmaven.com. And you can learn a lot more about the PR Maven. So have a great day, PR Maven Nation.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the PR Maven Podcast. I invite you to share a review of the podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. You can also join the PR Maven Nation on Facebook. It's free to join, and it's a great community of like-minded individuals who are all looking to learn and grow from one another. If you use an Alexa device, use your Alexa app to search the Skills and Games section to find and enable the PR Maven Podcast Flash Briefing. This will give you access to exclusive content and more PR and marketing advice. Thanks again for listening, and have a great rest of your week, PR Maven Nation.